but still, I mean, you know, we've had that. Societies have had that where things feel relatively safe and things are okay and we're all fairly relaxed. Um, it's arguable whether it's possible to do that entirely. I mean, you have like Freud's ideas of civilization is built upon the suppression of certain things. So there's always going to be some kind of angst or struggle at the base of it. Um, I'm not sure that I believe that, but it's true enough that we do have to take it into account.
Yeah,
You
I'd
know,
agree with
it's
that.
that or
Yeah.
something like that, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd say that's probably, and this is probably my Rousseau influence. It's probably more, there's probably more suppression of sort of of psychological things in cities, and I think especially megacities. I don't know if this has to do with your experience. I know at some point you left New York City because it wasn't so good for you, right? So
mhm.
I just think of, the situation of Robin Hood, that I think on a larger level there's something about the healing of society, of going into nature and living in nature, and something about like mega cities with just almost no nature, where like the exception is like going into where you travel maybe a few miles through concrete and glass and steel to get to like a park. And Central Park is really really nice, and it does kind of, when you go into it, right, it kind of does feel like a little forest in some places and stuff. It's really nice, but um, yeah, the nature is the exception, right? And
Yeah,
there's some trees and everything, and but yeah, I wonder
yeah.
if that just has like an effect. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it definitely did for me. And I can say, like, doesn't matter where you are in Central Park, like you see buildings. Like you're
Oh,
never,
really? Okay.
yeah, there's never this sense of, I mean, they might be like peeking up over the side, or maybe if you're like right under a couple of trees, you're like, oh, I can't see it. But like it's always very ringed by it. And it's a very different thing to say, like, oh, I drove like 3 hours out of town and I was in the middle of a woods where like I didn't hear an airplane for 3 hours, or I didn't,
Yeah.
it's just like, and you can feel when you're in that kind of space. I'll just speak from my own experience. When I'm in that kind of space, I can feel kind of how far out the nature goes. Like
Yeah.
there's this, when you're in a little park, you're like, oh, this is nice, but like I can feel these houses over there and over there. And when you're out in the woods, there's this sense of this sort of, you can just feel how there's no walls anywhere. It just kind of continues and continues and continues. And
Yeah.
yet it's all alive together. Whereas when you have houses, everything's very like we're alive here and they're alive here and so on and so forth. And so to my mind, going back to nature, or in my experience, going back to nature is a reminder of how everything is interconnected.
Right.
And if you can have that if you're going to have that in a city where there isn't that symbolic reminder of the forest, of the interplay of all the beings of the trees and the animals and the mushrooms and everything else, like you can just see it there how everything exists together, then a good society is a mirroring of that. It's people being able to exist together in a city because there's enough open-heartedness, there's enough trust in the system that we can at least ape, kind of monkey, mimic that sort of natural flow, or do the best to bring that natural being togetherness into our society. And that's what a healthy society is. And when the rulership loses their legitimacy, when they stop caring for that healthy flow, then society starts to crumble and people need to go back to the greenwood to rediscover what it means to be human and alive.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. I would think, yeah, the bigger the city, the harder it is to have something that brings you back to at least human nature and, social trust and everything. It's just, if there's just too many people, it's like you can't, there's probably some switch in your brain that goes, I can't quite have that level of bonhomie, that social trust and everything with this many people. Maybe you could live in some sort of enclave or community, and like if you've grown up there and there's like some commonality between everybody, then you can.